Hey guys, my glasses are always a little wonky on these things. Okay, anyway, my name is Dr. Selassie. I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I'm coming with you today for the New Flower Hour. I'm sitting here in the New Flower Clinic. This is my lovely office. I think you've all seen me post from here. Here's my desk, I have it arranged a little bit differently since we're doing these Instagram lives, and I can kind of move around a little bit. Anyway, I am the author of a book called Aging Brilliantly. My name is Dr. Selassie. I'm the mother of 5 and a naturopathic doctor, and I love being with all of you. I've been doing this Instagram live ever since my book came out, every single Tuesday at 12 noon. And some of them I record and then I put them on YouTube. So if you ever miss any and you want to watch them, just check me out on YouTube, on all the platforms, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, or my website is all Dr. Selassie with the doctor spelled out, just like you see here on Instagram. I've got hi everyone, thanks for coming. I see some familiar faces, and I'm really glad to be getting some people that are coming on regularly and expecting that I'm on. I got a bunch of questions this week too, which I'm really excited about. We're going to talk about osteoporosis today. We're going to talk about a little bit about anxiety and COVID, anxiety during quarantine or this time. We're going to talk about irregular sleep, or what's called delayed sleep phase syndrome, which, all of a sudden is a trendy word right now, but naturopaths have been helping people to get to sleep for at least the last 50 years since the naturopathic profession has been in order, and it's a problem. Bless up, Rashabungo. Yeah. Anyway, varicose veins, we'll be talking about genes, and we'll be talking about the Quarantine 15 and what I have installed for you. So it's a lot to cover in a half an hour, so I'm just going to start. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about this irregular sleep pattern. I've got a lot of patients emailing me questions about this new DSPS. And, it stands for delayed sleep phase syndrome, which means that basically you're sleeping 2 hours later than what would be considered a normal, natural bedtime for you. And you're also having a hard time waking up. It's really hard for you to wake up in the morning. Naturopathic doctors have been talking about this for the longest. We just never called it DSPS. It's just a problem, in my view, in a naturopathic view, of you really having an issue with your adrenal glands. That's the main issue here. It also has to do with, and I know that some people are really struggling with this, and so you can take it how you want to take it, but I do think that discipline is in order here. It can be hard lying down, and especially if you're, the idea of being a night owl, I think some people sort of glorify it a little bit. And so I'm a night owl. My brain turns on. I get all my pottery done. I polish silver. I mean, people have told me all kinds of crazy stuff. I write the best when I sleep at night, but honestly, we're not rats and we're not roaches, and we are, human beings that are diurnal in nature. We're not nocturnal animals. And if you are getting your brain turned on and waking up at night, it's because your circadian rhythms are off, and it's not really a healthy thing. Actually, all of us have circadian rhythms that have been destroyed a little bit just because of electricity and screens and email. And, I'm not sitting on a mountain looking down and saying you all, because I'm right there with you. I'm on my smartphone. Sometimes I don't have limits, and I'm on it late into the hours of the night, and I get it, but it does require discipline. And so does anything in your health that you want to get better. There's always going to be discipline involved. And with delayed sleep phase syndrome, if you're lying down, Dr. Selassie, that's me. I love to say that that healing time is really between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Some people are like, oh, well, if I get 8 hours, it doesn't matter. I could go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning and wake up at 11 in the morning and get the same kind of hours of sleep. But it's not the same deep quality healing sleep, because again, we are diurnals, not nocturnal humans. And we do work on a clock. We do work on a certain body clock. And so if you can sleep between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m., and hopefully longer, because you really need 7 to 10 hours of sleep if you're an adult, and if you're a teenager, you probably need like 10. And if you're younger than that, you definitely need naps and you need a lot of sleep. We do that. That's us as human beings. We need sleep to recover and to restore. And so for people with this DSPS, it's really hard for them sometimes to just lie down in bed wide awake. And then it's really, really difficult to wake up in the morning. However, you got to try, and I would try in 15-minute increments, meaning if you go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, let's try for 1:45, and if you get up whenever you feel like it, and maybe it's 12 noon, you need to start to set your alarm for 11. If your goal is better health. If your goal is not better health and you want to kind of sit around and complain about it, you could do that too, but it's not really going to help you get healthier. Okay, the other thing that is really important is that your bed should really only be for sleeping. Okay, you shouldn't be paying bills in your bed. You shouldn't be on the computer in your bed. You shouldn't really even be watching TV from your bed. Your bed really has to be about sleep, and your body needs to know that, so that when it's time to get into your bed, it's not time to start thinking about what you've got to do. It's certainly not a place to be eating in your bed. It's really about sleeping. Another thing is lots of people set alarms to wake up. You should really set an alarm at night so that you go to bed and you remind yourself. So I think what people do is they kind of walk around and they're doing their thing and they're living at night until all of a sudden they're tired and they say, okay, bedtime. But really you should set your alarm and you should give yourself a nighttime ritual. Just like if any of you out there have children, just like you put them to, oh, it's bedtime. You've got to brush your teeth, get in your pajamas. Mommy or daddy's going to tuck you in and give you a kiss goodnight. Maybe you get a bedtime story if you behaved well today. You've got to do that for yourself. Humans need to be told, we need to be told, adults and children, that it's bedtime, and you need to have a sleeping ritual. You need to have a calming down ritual. Otherwise, your adrenal glands are going to think that you need to keep going, to survive, and it's just going to keep secreting cortisol, and then all those natural circadian rhythms are going to go off. And that's the thing, your adrenal glands get exhausted too. So if they're going for long periods of chronic stress, which we all have, and then within the day they're going, in the morning when they finally calm down, they're just going to want to stay down. They're exhausted, right? So these are the things you got to think about. You've got to try and really get your mind around the fact that you got to work on switching your clock just a little bit earlier, and you're doing it for your health, and you're doing it for your circadian rhythms, and you're doing it for your adrenal glands, and discipline will have to be involved. Now, there's other things. Discipline might not be enough for some. So my favorite supplement right now, though I've used many, I've had people on hops and valerian, I've had people on all kinds of herbs, but I'm really loving, honestly, melatonin, which is not an herb. It's a hormone, actually. And the reason why I'm really loving melatonin right now is that it really helps with inflammation, and it can help with some people that are really suffering from things like COVID-19 and the comorbidities that kill them. Honestly, melatonin can honestly help you in this time if you get COVID-19. And I just usually start with 1 milligram. It's very safe. They've even done studies on children. Oh, hi. I think it's my old patient from, not going to name you, but maybe I shouldn't even say where you're from, but I'm glad to see you. Sometimes people need just 1 milligram of melatonin or 0.5 milligram, and I would start there. Usually you can find doses in 3, 5, or 7. Even 20 milligrams are high doses. It's very safe to take, but I don't think you need 20 milligrams to get yourself to sleep. And you can also dose children with melatonin. Like I said, it's been studied on children. So try melatonin. Some people get really, really vivid dreams, but I find that after a few days of taking the melatonin, then the vivid dreams stop. I think the vivid dreams are you getting some of your circadian rhythms altered. That's all. And hopefully you sleep long enough, because we go through phases of sleep. There's light sleep, there's deep sleep, and there's REM sleep. And you really need to go through all three cycles at least a couple times. So you also want to try and sleep longer, but this talk is really about trying to shift your sleeping to a little bit earlier, so that you're definitely asleep by 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. instead of people going to sleep after 2 a.m. and waking up late. That's just not good for your health. Other things that you can do other than keeping the bed for sleeping and giving yourself a nighttime ritual is also setting the alarm, is also putting a ban on your screens, like no screens past 8 p.m. At 8 p.m., you turn off the TV, you turn off the smartphone, you turn off your email, your computer, and you read a book, a good old-fashioned book. Maybe you want to read my book, Aging Brilliantly. It's a great resource for you. I don't actually make any royalties off this book. I was hired to write the book, Aging Brilliantly, and it's a really good read, and it has some really good quizzes, and it's got some pictures for you that aren't like straight text readers, and I just really think it's a great resource for you. And it's about how to eat, move, rest, and socialize your way to long life. And I definitely talk about sleeping in here, but I also find that this can go on with, blesses, love from Chile. That's great. Hi, all the way over there. Thanks for joining me, sis. So Aging Brilliantly, it's a great resource for you. And I really want you to check it out. Because it can help you with any condition. Like, you can just replace Aging Brilliantly with something like, I don't know, how to eat, move, rest, and socialize your way through your diabetes diagnosis, and you can get better. Okay, so next topic is varicose veins. So varicose veins are, those big kind of, I got a bunch of them when I was pregnant with my fourth and fifth baby. Sometimes it just happens, like you get a little older, there's some pressure on your bloodstream, you don't have as much collagen, your vein walls really get baggy. And that's what happens, but it doesn't mean that you have to deal with them, because there's so many things that you can take. One of my favorite herbs that come to mind for varicose veins is horse chestnut. Horse chestnut is really good for tightening up what's called the intima media wall of the veins. It's the middle wall. With varicose veins, when you tighten up the middle wall, then you can you turn your veins into smooth, long tubes versus baggy tubes, I guess you could say. And it's really important for you to realize that salt, though I'm not an anti-salt person, I think salt is really good and minerals are really good, salt being one of them, but too much salt in the diet can put a lot of pressure on the veins. There's going to be more blood in your blood vessel walls that are going to be putting pressure on the walls of the veins. So horse chestnut is a really good herb to use. There's many. There's goticola, Centella asiatica. There is horse chestnut. Is that Aesculus? I might be saying the common names and the scientific names. But anyway, horse chestnut, which is really has been represented in the research in things like hemorrhoids, which essentially a hemorrhoid is just essentially a baggy vein in your anus, and it really can hurt a lot of people. It can give you pain, it can bleed. And so doing things like reducing your salt, exercise is another really good one that can help with varicosities. And horse chestnut is a very, very safe herb, good for hemorrhoids, good for veins, good for hair, skin, and nails. Also, another question that someone had is about osteoporosis. So after menopause, so this person actually emailed me about osteoporosis after menopause. And what we find with osteoporosis after menopause is that what is happening is your estrogens are reducing. And when you reduce your estrogens, your bones don't stay as strong, right? So your bones don't stay as strong because estrogen kind of protects your bones. It also helps keep the minerals inside. So what you can do now is you can do things that provide nutrition for your bones. So I just keep looking at my notes over here, but a really good good nutrition for the bones is everyone's, I'm sure, heard of calcium, and that's really important. However, a lot of people, they used to say that you should do 1,500 milligrams of calcium, but it's just entirely too much because calcium is unruly. I think of calcium as an undisciplined child, and when you have calcium swimming around in your bloodstream, we need, it can land in places, like it can land in breast tissue, it can land in your prostate gland. And what we really need to do is we need to get calcium to go into your bones. So you want to, first of all, you don't need 1,500 milligrams of calcium a day in a supplement. I would stick with 750 to 1,000 milligrams. And then on top of that, you need calcium's parents, which I think of calcium's parents as vitamin D and vitamin K. So vitamin D is dad, and vitamin D says stay put. And by the way, you should all be on vitamin D at this time, dealing with all of us dealing with COVID-19. And my recommendation is 5,000 international units per day. And then you want to do vitamin K, which is like mom, who says you don't just have to stay inside the body, but you actually have to go into your room, which is your room for calcium are the bones, right? But we use calcium and minerals and all kinds of things for all different functions in our body. So sometimes calcium doesn't want to listen, and it doesn't want to stay in the bones. It wants to like hang out and swim around the body for other uses. But the thing is, and that's why you'd want to supplement. You want to make sure that you're getting enough calcium so that calcium doesn't feel like it has to stay away from the bones. Okay, so vitamin K, you want to do about 80 micrograms of vitamin K. Let's see, magnesium is another important mineral that's very important for the bones, and all of us as human beings, just like most human beings are deficient in vitamin D, we're also mostly deficient in magnesium. So magnesium is something that actually competes with calcium for absorption. So you'd want to take calcium, I say, in the day, and you do magnesium at night. So you take magnesium at night, and it'll help you sleep deeper as well as help build your bones. Let's see, another really great supplement for taking for osteoporosis after menopause is strontium. Strontium is a really great supplement. It has been shown to really help. They've done some studies where they've done before and after pictures of the DEXA scan or the bone scan, and it definitely helps strengthen your bones. The trick with strontium is that it has to be taken alone and on an empty stomach because it competes for absorption with other minerals like calcium and magnesium. And you're already taking calcium in the morning and magnesium in the evening. So my idea is that you take strontium in the very, very, very morning part of your day. Like even if it's almost before you get up, like maybe you keep strontium on your bedside and you take a couple doses then. And remember, even though I'm telling you about calcium and magnesium and vitamin D and vitamin K and strontium, I am a doctor, and this is for educational purposes only. I am not your doctor. So you need to ask your doctor what you can take. Okay, I am not your doctor, again, just a reminder, because I cannot give medical advice, and I am not giving you medical advice. I'm giving you medical education. So another thing that you also want to know about osteoporosis is exercise is really important, and that means weight-bearing exercises. So though I encourage any kind of exercises, such as swimming, that's good, but that's not really a weight-bearing exercise. A weight-bearing exercise is actually you carrying weights, or you carrying your own weights, or doing some kind of core or resistance training. Okay, so that's, and then one more thing is most of these minerals and supplements are very safe to take if you're on medicine for osteoporosis. So you also just want to talk to your doctor for that reason, just to make sure that there's no interaction, right? And so Mindy's saying yoga. Yoga is great for osteoporosis because you are carrying your own body weight. It is considered a weight-bearing exercise. And yoga is great too because it helps with balance. There's some resistance. It can help with stress management. Okay, what else? So we talked about irregular sleep syndrome, DSPS. We talked about osteoporosis. We talked about varicose veins. I wanted to touch on a little bit about genetic predispositions. With genetic predispositions, you need to go. With genetic predispositions, you have things like, and the reason I'm holding up my book is because I talk about epigenetics in here. Basically, there's a study in this book that, right here on page 6, what what does DNA have to do with it? I was trying to read it upside down and backwards, as I know you're seeing it backwards. But basically, with genetics, is the study in here talks about, and maybe I'll just read it for you. One study from 2015 found that longevity is 20% dictated by our genes and 80% dictated by our lifestyle. So a lot of people, I hear this excuse too, and somebody, Nina actually asked me, and there's the references in the back so you can read the study yourself, said that a lot of people will say, oh, it's just part of my genes. Oh, I have diabetes because it's part of my genes, or I have the overweight gene, so might as well give up now. Well, me too. I have the overweight gene and I am overweight, but maybe I would be obese. Okay, and so there's different reasons why you would not want to just chalk it up to genetics. I think that's honestly, you're doing yourself a great disservice, because 80% of your genes are really dictated by your lifestyle. So also, I have cancer on both sides of my family. Should I just say, oh, I'm going to get cancer? No, because I know that I can beat my genes. I'm going to have to work a little bit, and that means I'm going to have to eat really well. I'm going to have to work on sleep. I'm going to have to exercise. Again, a healthy lifestyle does require discipline. Okay. And, I have to, and that brings me to my next thing, which is Quarantine 15. So next week, I'm going to be doing my 12 noon Instagram live, as I always do, but it's going to start off a 5-day Instagram live, how to avoid Quarantine 15. So in other words, on Monday, I'm going to give you a little synopsis about what is Quarantine 15, or some people are calling it COVID 15. And it basically refers to the 15 extra pounds that you might be gaining as you're quarantining at home and have too much access to the refrigerator and getting a little bit bored. Okay, the problem with that is that lots of people end up eating their way through quarantine. They're eating out of boredom. Maybe they're having some anxiety, and so they're sort of eating their way through anxiety or depression. Or maybe they're just at home surrounded by groceries and just, they're just cooking and eating too much sugar and not exercising or moving around as much or living the same kind of lifestyle that they once were. So the Instagram campaign starting on next Tuesday at 12 noon will be about how to avoid Quarantine 15. And I want you all to be there, meet me there on that first day. And then each day we're going to talk about different things that help you to avoid Quarantine 15. And I'm doing a lot of it too. So since quarantine started around March 15th, I think, is when I started sheltering in. I've lost 4 pounds, which is great for me because, usually over the holidays, I gain around 6 pounds. I get a little bit undisciplined and might gain anywhere. Yes, exactly, Mindy. Just like the Freshman 15. That's what it's named after, the Quarantine 15. You got it. And so every day we're going to be talking about something that I've done that I think can help you to avoid quarantine, whether it's ways to avoid sugar. Believe it or not, sleep is really important. We were talking about sleep and being overweight. If you're not sleeping, then your ability to release proper amounts of leptin and ghrelin, which are hormones. Ghrelin makes you hungry. And if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be secreting ghrelin all day because your body's like, oh, we're tired. Give us some sugar or give us some food. Let's just secrete ghrelin and make them want to eat. And then that's what happens. So every day we're going to talk about one kind of discipline that you can incorporate into your life to avoid the Quarantine 15. So we're going to start on Tuesday at 12 noon of next week and go every single day for 5 days starting at 12 noon. So I hope that you'll join me. I'm trying to see what else. Okay, one other thing that I'm supposed to address, these are my list of questions, is I put a survey out last week on my email list, and if you're not on my email list, I really encourage you to join it. You can go to drselassie.com and just sign up, just enter your email. In there you'll get a little awesome, cute little poster of affirmations that you can print out that will also help you if you follow the affirmation sheet and you do the things on the sheet, once a day, one little thing, every day you will see your health improved. So I want you to go to my website and get that little bonus affirmation sheet and enter in your email address, because then you'll be on my list and I send out little tips. So, honestly, this right here is something I'm writing up for you on exercise, because I want people to exercise while they're in quarantine, and I've got some really great tips in my email list. So please go ahead and sign up for that. But one person, when I put out the survey, wrote me and said she's really struggling with anxiety during COVID-19. And honestly, the email that I'm sending out to my list today is all about how exercise can really help with battling anxiety during COVID-19. So you can read that if you are the one with anxiety. The other thing that I just like to remind people is I keep hearing, it's such a, it's an unprecedented time of uncertainty. But just remember, every single day of your life, you wake up in the morning and you walk into it with a certain level of uncertainty, whether COVID-19 is out there or not. So this is where you might have to remove your anxious thoughts and just try to make a little bit of room for faith. Okay, you got to have a little bit of faith, and it does take, faith is like a muscle. It doesn't just happen. Like, it's not just like, boom, I have a lot of faith that everything is going to be all right. You've got to exercise it. It's a daily discipline. So anything you can do, whether it's an affirmation or whether it's a prayer or whether it's meditation, or maybe you have a gratitude list where you're writing down things that you're grateful for to reaffirm to you and to strengthen your thoughts that, oh boy, some really good things happen to me, even in unprecedented, uncertain times. So it's really about mindset. Okay, so of course, I really don't want you all to take this the wrong way. Like, I know you might be really out there suffering with anxiety, or you might be out there really suffering with this delayed sleep phase syndrome. And I don't want you to get the message that Dr. Selassie is just saying, you got to have a little discipline and get yourself to sleep and stop feeling anxious. But, it is part of it. So discipline is part of it. Affecting your thoughts and changing your thoughts is part of it. And it might not feel so right to change your thoughts, but you are in control of your thoughts. And we forget that. Sometimes we feel as if we're victims of our thoughts. So my message is that anxiety, osteoporosis, varicose veins, delayed sleep patterns, the quarantine 15, what else did you all ask me about? And genetic predispositions, you do have power in this. And the answers are always the same. You want to be moving, you want to be sleeping, you want to be resting, you want to be eating good food, you want to be thinking good thoughts, and that's how you heal your life. Okay, my name is Dr. Selassie. I love being with you every single Thursday at 12 noon. I'm known as a doctor you can talk to. I am seeing patients via telephone or Zoom conference, and you can find my link in my bio for my website, and you can call my 888 number and get a free, non-obligatory, free phone consult to see if I'm the naturopathic doctor for you, or even if you're right for naturopathic medicine. Okay, so have a wonderful, powerful day. My name is Dr. Selassie. Keep the questions coming, and I'll talk to you soon.